Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Megan Glova. North Carolina's new DMV commissioner is sharing his plan to handle the crazy wait times people are dealing with statewide. WRAL Shaun Gallagher was at the DMV for that update. He joins us now with more details. Shaun, thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem, Megan.
So obviously going to the DMV is a bit rough right now, and that's even
Right.
if you can get an appointment. So what exactly is being done to improve the experience?
Yeah, so they talked about both, solutions that are large and small scale. First of all, the new commissioner says they need to have a complete system overhaul. And if that sounds like a big deal, it is. They're saying it's upgrading systems. They have these kind of old-fashioned black screens with green lettering. It's super old school. So they do need to make changes there. That could be years down the line before we see improvements there. But there's also smaller scale changes, like just getting better scanners. When we were speaking to the commissioner on Friday, he said the first thing he talked about with folks that work here is that these scanners just take too long. And honestly, seconds matter when they're trying to process hundreds of people at each of these locations a day. So if they can just get scanners that could, have the time to print out documents, that could really help get people in and out of these buildings a lot faster. And truly, that's the name of the game right now.
Yeah, that'd be great. And, speaking of maybe some of those more easy fixes, I heard the new website being mentioned a lot during the press conference. What can you tell us about that and maybe any changes we might see there?
Yeah, it seems really simple to say like, oh, the DMV has a new website. It's 2025. Why didn't they already have one? This one's just a little more streamlined. So ultimately, they would like to get the website to a level where it's not just somewhere you go for information, but where you could actually get stuff done like renewing your license or any of the other things that you would typically go in for. They want to try to get as many people out of the building as possible for those easy fixes, but they're not there yet. There are some elements of the new website that make it a bit more streamlined. They even have like a quiz on there to, see if you actually need a real ID or not, which essentially what the quiz does is just kind of see if, are you going to fly or go into a federal building at any point in the near future? If not, you don't need a real ID. So put that off, kind of, relieve some of the stress on these workers and these buildings that have so many people that need something done right now.
Yeah, that's a great point. Anything else you can think of, maybe some examples of improvements that will come quickly and not quite as quickly outside of maybe the scanners and those more technical things like the systems you mentioned?
Yeah, so Commissioner Paul Dine on Friday and Governor Josh Stein and the DOT Secretary Joey Hopkins actually walked the line outside of the DMV building there in Raleigh. And, they were doing that to try to talk to folks, but also you could see they had one of the DMV employees with them where they're kind of triaging the line. And it's not just a meet and greet for them when they were here. It is, more of an idea that they want to see if you have all the documents that you need. And if not, go home and get those documents. Or if you do have the documents, let's bump you up to the front because we know we can get you in and out quickly with what you have because it's not a complicated situation for you. So that kind of triaging of the lines apparently is not something they were doing before, but something that Commissioner Tyne was really excited to talk about to, let people know that, he's hitting the ground running and you're going to start seeing changes right away. Even though there are big systemic changes that need to be done, he's not going to wait, 5 years down the line before we see something. He wants to get started right away.
Yeah, that's great. That's much needed. I'm curious,
Right.
When Governor Stein and the commissioner saw all these people outside the DMV, did you overhear or did you ask anyone in line maybe what some of their questions were to them or some of their biggest concerns?
Yeah, they really just wanted to get a picture of, what they're dealing with. And, it's kind of refreshing. You see these elected officials who are actually seeing people in a bad situation. We go to these kinds of press conferences all the time, and a lot of times they organize the very best story for us to see publicly. That's not what this was. I mean, they are coming here to a very busy DMV, people who are not happy about having to wait in line as it's getting hotter. And then they go in and they have to, still wait. And it's largely 3.5, 4 hours before they get help. So they even brought a woman in from Durham who told her story, and it wasn't glowing. She talked about needing to drive over an hour away to, get her daughter her license. And when they went there, they had to wait out in the rain for over an hour before they got in. They got in just by the skin of their teeth, and they were able to get the license. But the, kind of silver lining there that this woman had was, the employees that they deal with are very nice. They're try to be as helpful as they can. That's the silver lining. But it's really just the system that's so messed up. And, they address that head on, that Commissioner Tyne is going to try to implement a number of things to try to make impacts both short-term and long-term to make this more efficient. And again, I say efficiency is really what they're all talking about.
When we come back, what Governor Stein had to say about the state of the DMV. Take a listen to a bit of what Governor Stein said during that press conference.
This state is the third fastest growing state in the country. We've added more people since the last census than any other state other than Texas or Florida. Every one of those new adult residents need a new driver's license. So they are adding to the lines that exist from existing North Carolinians, but we have not kept pace with the number of workstations that are staffed at our DMVs across North Carolina.
He said it's not complicated, which it seems like it with all the issues that we've reported on over the years, that maybe this is so complicated. But ultimately, he just said it boils down to eliminating inefficiencies and modernizing the system to get the agency back on track. But, a big part of that is also they just need bodies, they've got the DMV that we were at on Friday. That's the Raleigh East location. The woman who worked there who was speaking said that, they have 7 full-time employees, but they have 15 locations for people to be. So, they're under half staffed. And, in the governor's upcoming budget that's already passed through the House, he includes 85 positions for DMVs across the state. Now, that still needs to go through the Senate process before it's approved. But Commissioner Tyne actually mentioned that he has heard that the Senate is, on board and supporting them in trying to include that as part of the budget. So the budget's gigantic. They've got a number of elements they need to talk about, but at least preliminarily, the DMV is saying they may be good to go ahead with adding more people, which is only going to make the process more simple.
Oh, yeah, no. Anything helps at this point, so we'll take it. We'll take it. Okay, Shaun, thank you so much. We appreciate all that insight.
Absolutely.
All right, and thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. You can find more podcasts from WRAL News at WRAL.com. Search podcast. From sports to true crime, there are plenty of shows to keep you informed and entertained. I'm Megan Glova. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.